platforms: YouTube UTV 124, Facebook UTV 124, Instagram UTV 124, Twitch UTV 124, TikTok UTV_124, and Flow TV channel 124. Remember, UTV TV for you.
I can't
Welcome to Mornings with me, Tresha Lionel. It is an absolute pleasure having you join us on the show. I hope so far it's been a good Wednesday. It is a bit after 11. Apologies for starting off a bit late. I want to say good morning to those of you watching, especially in Viewfort, Marcella, Petal, Miss Maureen, all of you guys. I really appreciate the support and encouragement and the different topics that you think I should cover, and we will get to it, I'm sure, because you know we have some time together. We have so much to discuss. To my granny as well, I know you're watching as always. Good morning, Mama. And for those of you watching all around the country, if you're listening to us as well on our radio station partner Hits FM 92.1 and 91.1 FM, we appreciate that every single day that we're here. Also, if you're watching us on television, channel 124, or also on the social media platforms where we stream at 11 from 11 every day, good morning to you. I also have to say a special shout out and good morning to Miss Evelyn from Sulphur City in Soufrière. I got your call, I hear your message, and I'll listen to you, okay? I will try as best as I can to let the show be longer and not the normal 1 hour. But I hear you, and I've been getting the calls and the comments and everything else, but Messi, I'm not going to lie to you. Not much is happening, you know, every single day. There seemed to be some kind of scandal back in the past administration, and you know, for sure, there's not much to say, except that, you know, we keep our eyes and ears open, trying to keep people accountable for their work, and we will continue to do that. But I also find, you know, it's not just me and the show. I think there are some people even on the other side, they don't know what to do, what to say with themselves, Minerva and the lot. There's nothing to say, so, you know, you get the madness and the mad posts, but but no matter what, there continues to be things that we need to talk about. And when we're talking about truth, what's happening in the country, what do we expect with some people want to call it missteps. I think it's some kind of euphemism for another word that I cannot say on morning television. But if you know, you know what I mean. There some things that I would never think could happen in this country, and you know, it's happening now, and it's only happening with Silapan Situes, Lapan Vole. And I think there are a lot of Situes in the past administration and let a lot of things go by, and there was some people giving some poor excuses, shallow reasons for some of the most abhorrent things that I've seen, and that includes the building on the Pitons. No, we will not let go of it, and I do hope that we will see some kind of rectification to that issue. But before we do so, and before I let you know of my hopes for the future, let's look at just there are quite a bit of the situations, like I said, but I think this person, Bradley Felix, is right on top of there with the things that he said regarding that issue.
Talk of a development on the lands at Ursivoin and Choiseul have been worrying for conservationist groups in St. Lucia. The land sits at the base of Gopito within the Piton Management Area PMA, which is a designated restrictive area, part of St. Lucia's World Heritage Site. Considering the ensuing controversy when it was revealed that DCA approval may have been granted to a developer to pursue work, I spoke to a parliamentary representative for the area. Bradley Felix confirmed that he is aware that there is a private development slated for the area.
I think one of the misconceptions is when people hear a no-build zone, you're under the impression that there should be absolutely no construction. There can be some construction, but within certain parameters. So for example, the size of what you're doing there, the height of what you're doing there, how much intrusion are you into maybe the Pitons or the riverbed or the sea. There are various restrictions, and I think DCA is on top of that. What I'm happy about is that in the community, it is creating the sort of much needed employment activity. But we need to also ensure that it is not, at the expense of our patrimony.
According to the UNESCO World Heritage page for the area, despite the comprehensive legal and management framework, several threats require permanent attention. Both in the short and longer term, the increasingly strong pressure to construct hotels and residential buildings is the single most important threat to the integrity of the small property. It seems that for these reasons, various environmental conservation bodies have taken issue with the possible development.
Rest assured, Mr. Speaker, we will be forgiven. I thank you.
And I don't know when he says they will be forgiven. Maybe people in Choiseul let you back in. Just the two of you, by the way, you and the leader of the opposition that we haven't seen in person at all. Not just me, but the other 37,000 people that voted for the United Workers' Party that he will not let us forget about. There has been no sight of him. So, yeah, whether they will be forgiven, I think we still have to see about that. And I don't care about forgiveness. I care about justice. That's what I think I want to see. And with Bradley Felix and saying all that, and someone do what they do say is, coming up with different excuses. When they say no build zone, that doesn't mean you don't build. You can build by height and all that kind of stuff. Trying to find very lame excuses in my mind. When you're talking about the Pitons, before I think I knew how to write, I think I knew how to draw two triangles and a little bird thing, knowing that it meant something as a solution. And now we have a billionaire building on it because they think they can, and there's been no protection. And he spoke about the DCA and that they're on top of it. In what obtained with the DCA in the last 5 years, we have seen there's been no transparency. We've seen the DCA chair then, Clem Bob, doing all sorts of madness. And I want answers. I want transparency. I want to know that at least some of these things can be reversed, or I want massive fait, but I hope that with this new administration that can happen. And also, if we're going to talk about lame excuses, also talk from Bradley Felix about employment, and that to me is just so lazy. If you're going to say that, people come to you with their mic and asking you a question, and you're going to say, oh, people in the community getting jobs, so let's sell ourselves, let's prostitute ourselves to the highest bidder, and I'm sure that's not even the highest anyway, and then you're going to sell yourself because people will get a kakada, they can go home. And I wonder too, with all of that being done, we went there about a month and a half ago. Construction still going on, and people feel that they can do whatever. So I want to see some of that being addressed, and I think that brings me to the next point here, that there is a new chairperson for the Development Control Authority, the DCA, and that's in the person of Ignatius Jean. So I know it's new, we just starting, but Mama to do, I don't have the time. I want to see things starting to happen. Maybe it is unfair of me to see these things happening right away, but at least we need to have the conversation as to where we go to next. When we've seen all of what has happened with the DCA, people crossing approved, not approved, and putting their own thing, putting their signature, there's just a lot of things going on and ulterior motives that happened in the past 5 years that I'm hoping Ignatius Jean, former government minister, long portfolio there. And I'm sorry to say, we have a lot of expectations, and I think I wanted to hear from him on what do we expect, not just with the Pitons, even though that one is really close to my heart, but also with Cabot, again, another big issue. What can be done there? I asked him these questions, and that was just some of what he spoke about. But let's listen to what he had to say.
Well, it's always an honor to be called in to service the country, so I'm looking forward to the task.
Now, you have been on the board before. Now that you are heading it, what are the changes that you're going to start off with, or are there any that you're already seeing that you could be putting in?
Well, of course, I've not yet, I don't even know the composition of the board just yet. I only know that there was an announcement of my appointment. And yet to meet with, get a briefing from the executive secretary, who is the head of the department, to know all the matters that are outstanding. But I certainly know of things before going in that we normally deal with. And there are some matters we will have to try to tidy up in as far as the Physical Planning and Development Act are concerned. And of course, ultimately, getting development approval is really where sort of the engine room for all development in the country, and so we have to work towards trying to be more efficient, and so that developers can see the whole process being going through within reasonable time. Of course, a lot of development matters take time to do all the assessment, evaluation, environmental impact studies, wherever that's necessary. But generally speaking, it is the way to improve the speed of doing business. The BCA is one of those entities that will certainly impact the ease of doing business. So we will try to ensure that we remove whatever bottlenecks that are in there as much as possible. And of course, strengthening the legal arm of the BCA wherever possible, because there usually are lots of legal matters to contend with both in the administration of our work and with developers who tend to breach some of the rules and regulations. So we would have to strengthen on those areas.
Perhaps it's a bit too early, but you have to permit me. I think St. Lucians really do want to know what can be done to rein in Cabot.
Well, the fact is I cannot speak to that just yet because I haven't seen any of the development plans for Cabot, nor do I have not been privy to a lot of the details of what has been approved or what was not approved. So until such time, I would not want to comment on this until I have been sufficiently briefed on the details of the development.
And nor on the transgressions on the Pitons?
Same here. I would want to get all my facts correct before I begin to make any public pronouncements about those.
You'll have to forgive me.
Certainly we would. These would be, I'm sure these are hot button matters that the public would be looking forward to us dealing with. And as soon as we get down to our board meetings, we will have to be briefed on those and review them, and wherever we have to make the adjustments, we will get down to that.
Okay, so we're not talking just as you being DCA chair now. I mean, you're sitting there knowing what's been going on, looking at the last 5 years. What were the loopholes that you could have seen at home, just looking on and knowing what you know? The loopholes exposed by the Shasta administration between Shasta and Clem Bob, and can they be closed for good?
Well, again, as I say, there are things that... that's why I'm saying we'd have to strengthen some of our legal processes, and we have a sitting attorney in the ministry, and maybe on the advice of the Attorney General as well, to look at some of whatever loopholes were there to allow certain things to take place, that we can tidy these up through legislation. and maybe even some of the regulations of the DPA as it is. One of the other things too is to be able to increase with the transparency of processes. And in some of those major developments, it requires that you would have to, where you would have certain major changes of use of some types of some land locations, that you would have to have placed conspicuously on the location a notice of a change of use, so that the public would be fully aware of what's taking place. And I often cite the example that we had of a situation in not Labralotte, that's a 2-year where that was advertised, it was in the Gazette, so the public is aware of the type of development, so people can have an opportunity to comment and to make their input as the public under such circumstances. But I think generally a lot of these areas, such as the Piton management area, they are absolute guidelines. And I think for another burning issue, I think most of the public have would be that to do with our coastal zone management. And I think one of the functions of the DCA is also to be able to propose to the government areas that should be zoned for certain types of development. And it would be incumbent on us to, sit down and do some of that work and cause the agency to help us in preparing the type of policy for the use of our, because whilst there are legal issues with the Queen's Chain and the use of beaches, there's the National Conservation Authority, the St. Lucia National Trust, and there is provision for the DCA to list, to compile a list of places of natural beauty or interest, both in the marine and the subterranean environment and aspects of our flora and fauna, so that we can preserve those for generations. And so we have to collaborate with the St. Lucia National Trust, and these are one of the agencies which, as soon as we settle down, would be one of the first agencies referral agencies we would be meeting with to examine some of that policy, as well as the National Conservation Authority, because we have to come up with some policy so that it is clearly delineated, and that we do not keep having this recurrence of breaches and people complaining about the use of our beaches, etc., and public access. That has to be clearly enshrined in law, and so that everybody knows what the rules are, and so we will be guided accordingly.
Now, trust and believe, I knew it was too early to ask some of the questions, but I just wanted to know where his mind was at. Where are we going to go? You can get some sort of idea of where the person's trajectory, what they're going to be looking into, and hearing him speak then, even though he didn't want to speak too much on, and he couldn't speak too much on Cabot and the Piton management, but the other issues, when he says they're going to be looking into the coastal management, going to look into dealing more with the St. Lucia National Trust, National Conservation Authority, these things, from where I'm sitting, at least it's a good start to try to, really understand what are the rules, because right now, all that happened, all that we could see was that the technocrats could do what they want. They could say that certain things weren't approved for whatever reason, but if you seem to have the ear of the Prime Minister and you have enough power, like Clem Bob thought he did, you can just cross it out and just have just unilaterally, just in a very authoritarian manner, just dictate to people, you know, whether they can do what they want, as we saw with the Pitons. So again, I think I'm looking forward, as I know many solutions are, to see what exactly will be coming out of that. And like he said, there'll be meetings and board meetings where they will really look into how to do that next. And as we await to see what's happening, I want us to go back. We have to go back, Missy. We need to remember what it looked like when a DCA chair, not only you know, there was this thing where he wouldn't speak with reporters, but I remember him, you know, saying, what's the point of World Heritage Site status? And he was there with Bowfest and Champagne, Mr. Wow, and they were like, you know, what's the big deal with the UNESCO World Heritage Site? You know, I ain't giving you no money. They're not doing anything. Clearly myopic. There is no real view. These people don't seem to have any depth, or maybe they do, but they just put it on the side to try to make certain people happy or for whatever personal gain that they were getting. I don't know. But I hope once again to see due process reign, and just so we can see what due process is one thing. I guess we'll have to get used to what it looks like, but let's remember what it looked like when there wasn't any of that.
Questions remain unanswered in the ongoing saga involving the development at the foot of Gopito. News Force reached out to chairman of the DCA, Mr. Clem Bob, but he was reluctant to provide answers. The public has been clamoring for clarity on the structure at the foot of Gopito. News Force approached DCA chairman Clem Bob, who was reportedly attending a meeting on the Queen's Chain on Tuesday, for answers. News Force was hoping to find out why the DCA granted approval to the project when the plans for the structure, according to the St. Lucia National Trust, were not reportedly submitted to the Piton Management Area Advisory Committee for review. He had this to say.
When the FEMA never saw the plans.
Well, if that's what FEMA tell you, go to FEMA.
So what's happening? Have we discussed it? Are we going to see some kind of resolution in this? In this thing, it's now a lot of solutions are concerned. What can you tell us?
Well, that's up to them.
The DCA chair advised that News Force seek answers from the head of Crown Lands, who in turn referred the news team to the permanent secretary in the Department of Physical Planning. News Force also sought independent verification on the authenticity of a letter in wide circulation. The document making the rounds in the public domain makes reference to the Cabinet of Ministers instructing the DCA chairman to inform the applicant to apply to the Development Control Authority for the construction of the single-family private dwelling. We asked Bob whether this was common practice and sought to ascertain whether the document was authentic.
If you saw the document or you saw signature, I didn't see it. I don't know about that.
So are you saying this is fake? And should you be concerned because if you have document with your name?
Just make sure you know what you're writing, that's all.
89% of the public has called for a cease and desist of the construction. As the DCA president, chairman, are you going to look into that?
No comments. No comments there.
Nonetheless, News Force remained persistent on the matter that has generated public debate and garnered heavy scrutiny. However, our efforts to gain further insight drew the ire of DCA chairman.
Construction's continuing. Is it going further?
What part of no comments you don't understand? Want me to say it in patois?
For the people is suffering, so they can understand.
So you're calling them ignorant now or illiterate?
Go ahead, let them know, because they want to know. This is in their community.
This is harassment. Why are you all harassing me like that?
We just have questions and answers. So we're asking you, as the chairman of the Development Control Authority, what can the people of St. Lucia know about this single-family dwelling that was granted approval under your watch?
Application in question for that building, which is currently going up on the Pitons, that was approved. That went to what is known as the as a subcommittee of the Development Control Authority, because you know how it was treated? It wasn't treated as if it was an applicant.
And you could see there the questions being asked, Clem Bob trying to run away like he was being cornered. We need to know what exactly is happening. And I'll give you some time, Mr. Jean. I'll give you some time, but trust and believe, myself and many, many others, we're waiting to see what's going to come out of the investigations with not just this issue, but several of the others. And as we speak of that, I think Catherine Seeley said it well. Let's look at that next Facebook post. She said it in a way, you know, she have a dread way of saying things that I always admire that. Catherine Seeley here spoke about that kind of issue. She says, the St. Lucia Labour Party has a rich history of winning an election and keeping their heads down for 5 years, cleaning United Workers' Party mismanagement. My advice to SLP, reinstate Town Hall Wednesdays, host weekly question and answers and information sessions digitally and in person when possible post-COVID-19. Inform St. Lucia about what you are doing. Yes, everything. We want to know about the corruption, mismanagement, debt levels, cash reserve, DHS, Carbot, NIC, SSDF, BTC, Family Court, CHTTI, CDP, CCC, Fresh Start, Road and Roundabouts, Permanent Do, HIAD Redevelopment, Ernst & Young, St. Jude's Hospital Construction, Landfill, as Director Wards, the Director of Finance and Audit, the Accountant General, the PS of Tourism, Infrastructure, Social Justice, Economic Affairs, which has to be alleged to be the most corrupt ministry, etc., etc. And for Christ's sake, start cleaning up the public service. Keeping quiet and working hard is no longer an option. Working hard and keeping us informed daily is the only option. Hashtag the cabal must be jailed, because before it was the cabal must go. The cabal must be jailed and there must be justice. Very, very well said, I think, Ms. Seeley. And I also agree that it's one thing to keep your head down and work and get the appointments done and everybody has a clear view of where they're going, but when it's being done in a quiet way, I don't think it will work well, not just for the St. Lucia Labour Party as a party, but for good governance and for the government, so people can get and start to trust that their truth matters and honesty matters, and there are people looking to make sure that it remains there. So that's my advice, and I agree with Catherine Seeley, and I look forward to what's going to come out, especially with that Carbot Malpopte. I say Malpopte because see the other one. Carbot and DSH and the Pitons, and when Catherine Seeley has really listed it, and you know there's more, I know the work is cut out for the different professionals there, but we await, we want to see justice. We'll be right back.
I can't stay. We can win this war. Get vaccinated. We're taking our life back. Get vaccinated.
My health and strength is my profession. It is the top priority to me and my family. By taking the COVID-19 vaccine, I can protect those who are vulnerable in my family and also my clients. To all the health-conscious persons and the athletes, I would like to say, COVID-19 has no friends, and we healthy persons can be affected as well. And worse yet, we can pass it on to those amongst us who are vulnerable. I'm looking forward to having a full class again and not having to choose which clients can come to work out today and tomorrow. I'm looking forward to our fitness family getting back together.
Get vaccinated.
This message is brought to you by the Bureau of Health Education of the Ministry of Health and Wellness.
Welcome back, and thank you very much for staying with us. Or if you're listening to us on radio, or watching us on television, or on whatever device that you have, watching us on the different social media platforms. We continue, yes, with the different appointments. I think everyone now is aware of the new mayor of Castries, Ms. Geraldine Lendor Gabriel, who will be put in officially on the 1st of September. And there was a press conference yesterday and all of that, and it was for many the first time listening to her, knowing what she looks like, hearing what she sounds like, that sort of thing. So if you haven't had the opportunity yet, I think it is really important to hear somebody speak to the CCC workers. That was again being done yesterday at the council, and this is what she had to say. There were certain promises being made to them, certain expectations they had of the CCC workers, but you know, they've had so many different issues to deal with, and she's saying that she will deal with it head on.
Parce que l'honneur, nous c'est l'honneur, ou menez banoua. You comprend? So go out there and do your job well, and we have to take care of you. We have to look at the issues the minister has given you. If the minister know that, for me, the one thing I wanted to say to you is that we're not paying you late again. And to see he come and say it is as if the two of us were talking. At Solid Waste, that was one of the rules that I put in place. You don't pay workers late. Alcide used to work inside of here, and you can ask him if he want me to get vexed, is for him to pay a worker late. Parce que when you're 25 cents on the bank account, hot paper ni ça. OK? He jot besoin manger. Moi par ça quoi, parce que moi ça mette là moi me dire moun merci souple. I can expect the same of you. We need you to do the job, to do it well. Sel bagay mavle. Allez là avec mener l'honneur CCC côté ici posé. Minister gave you the most important one, and I add the little one at the back. Nou pa pay outa, nou kay fait tout ça nou. Depuis di nou pa pay outa, ça vle di. Mwen ni pou travail pour make sure hot pa pay ta. Mais ça c'est tête show tout. OK? So ça kay tête show nou kay fait ça nou ça pour make sure ça pas fait encore. OK? I thank you.
And it's interesting when you see these things happening, and I'm listening to what the new mayor is saying, but I'm also looking at Peterson in the corner, making every effort to look at his phone. So when that happened with CCC, the new mayor and everything else, I think some people were taken aback, because that's big words there to be saying people will not be paid late, and that's been the order of the day under Peterson Francis as mayor. People were not paid on time at all. We've had the interviews, different stories for months upon months of the same issue. So when the new mayor says that that will not happen again, I think that's really big words and trusted beliefs in Muna Kagado. So again, we're there to see. And I don't think it would be complete if we didn't hear from the Minister of Housing, the Minister in charge of all of that, Mr. Richard Frederick, who again spoke to CCC workers, and I found that interesting too, because Richard sounded like he's still on the talk show and he just, you know, saying it how it is. Again, be with me and listen to what he's saying, but also try to glance at Peterson in the back. I think there are different issues here where, you know, very serious ones where we spoke of victimization, the mismanagement of funds in the CCC, people having too much power. What about the police force they say they have there with the, what do you call it, city police and all of these things? We need, once again, with this new appointment and in a new way moving forward, to see exactly what is going on. But let's hear from Richard Frederick himself.
Moi premier mouti pour politics afin c'était yon guide kakouye Richard Frederick dit monsieur ici là quoi galé look in there in 2006 yet when the opportunity for a job came I remember well Irvin John ex sweet juice vin ouais moi sweet juice de la dit boss la bail pour monsieur de ka dit boss la bail. I asked the mayor, is Arthur suited for the job? His response was, yes, sir. I gave him the job in 2007, and 14 years later, I'm proud to see Arthur is still at the Castries City Council. And I can tell you, he has always been a man I can depend on. I intend to work closely with you, Arthur, and Mr. Suma. I want to work with the two of you. I want you all to make me happy, and once I'm happy, you all must be happy. If you expect from me, I expect from you. You know, off and on, based on how things go. When last you all had a party for the workers? Two options. Mama no bubale asses. I know things are bad. But I am telling you, I will change things around so that when a Christmas comes, I can say, City Council workers, you all are having a party. Or based on how the finances are, I will direct my board to give each worker a $200 or $300 bonus. You see, you have to give people an incentive. And you have to let people know you appreciate their work. You have to let people know that. You have to let workers know that your efforts will not go unrecognized. And don't treat me as a minister. Treat me as one of you, because we are members of a team. I don't expect you to disrespect me, but certainly you all will have my ear. You meet me, you want to shoo something in my ear quickly, I'll permit you to do it. Because you can never know of one's problems unless he or she communicates those problems to you. And I will not want to know that one of you go and commit suicide when I could have solved the problem by making one phone call. So folks, like I said, I don't want to start taking questions now, but I'm just telling you all my vision for my workers. We will work together. We will do it together. Castries Santi, Castries Sal, Castries Brisé Lavé. Et qui caille lavé. Do you all have a pressure washer? One. It's working. Okay, merci beaucoup des zones by Kadavai. But no, honestly, we have to revisit how we do things. We have to ensure that what we do redounds to the benefits of the people. I must say, on, was it Saturday I called you, Mr. Suma, when I told you where I saw garbage? One of the things I want within Castries City Council as well is a rapid response crew. Aujourd'hui, passe à tomber à mi Saint Jeremy Street au dimanche au soir et nous pour quitter pour les dimanche matin. I need a rapid response crew and I will be giving my board directions on that. We need to keep the place as clean as we possibly can. Et tout l'argent nous ka payer contracteur, nous ka payer travailler overtime pour yo faire ça yo ni pour faire ban nous. So folks, I have big plans. All I tell you, help me, I will help you. And we'll do it together to achieve a safer, a cleaner, a nicer, and a more comfortable environment in Castries.
And I hear all of what's happening with Richard Frederick, again, making some announcements. There will be no late payments. He's saying there will be, he wants to have a rapid response team when things happen in the city. They will be getting a raise, and I think most notably that they will be done with that contracts being given to people when the CCC workers can be doing it themselves and maybe get overtime. And that's something that we've seen, people getting thousands doing work that the CCC workers can be doing. Again, if you look at, if you look at Peterson Francis in the back, you're there watching, when you're uncomfortable, you're there watching his, you're watching his watch, you're looking at the phone, you're there typing in it. Just check, just pass up way. And I think maybe I'm soft too. Because I was like, wait, Richard had to do that because all of these jabs being leveled at him because we know that he did not do a good job being mayor and it seemed to only be about himself. Maybe it shouldn't have happened like that. And I could Richard Kadi twop, uni nomna acid la, imem hot, e cafe akodi pa hot pièce. Maybe that was too much. Until I remembered exactly what it meant when this man, Peterson Francis, being mayor, meant for so many different people. The millions that have gone wasted, the abuse of power that we've seen. And I only got to have this sort of maybe sympathy for him. Until I remembered, and I wanted you to remember as well, the legacy, if you want to call it that, of Peterson Francis being mayor of Castries. And we'll start with, first off, his first step of doing things. And remember, too, that he came in with getting $3 million in the black. Everything was fine. People were getting paid on time. You finished when $12 million la in the CCC, and bit by bit we're going to be seeing, we're going to be hearing, we're going to be feeling the mayor, former mayor, soon to be, thank God, of former mayor of Castries. So let us walk down memory lane.
Our shareholding in Lucilem is 15.5%, which means that what we sold, the shares that we sold to LIC, was 0.83%. So I do not understand. And the 0.83% basically represented 184,808 shares at 17.5 EC dollars per share. So you can do the math. So basically our shares have just moved by 0.83%.
That would total about 3.23 million EC dollars. The mayor says that the proceeds of the sale would go towards financing the CCC's operations. But Mayor Francis also sought to set the record straight amid allegations that the previous council, chaired by his predecessor, left a net cash balance of $3 million in the CCC's bank account.
From the very onset, you have Peterson Francis making some mad decisions. Because if you have shares in Lucilec, who's Jemet and Lucilec appelle l'argent? Will you ever in your mind think Lucilec will not make money or it's a bad investment to have shares there? What we saw was Peterson Francis coming in and selling shares amounting to almost $2 million to say that they needed it to fix certain things and do that kind of thing. And like I said, you came in with $3 million already there to work with. And from the very beginning, we saw strange things being done with money, this fiscal mismanagement in my mind when you're looking on at it, because people thought that if you're going to be selling it and you're going to have more money, then some things would be happening. We did not see that. So, Richard Party, when I look back on that, EBF, and he should be, resigning and leaving in shame knowing what he's done. We continue. This is what he actually did with the money.
Operational audit on the Castries Constituency Council, led by Mayor Peterson Francis, includes numerous recommendations to reform and manage City Hall's spending. Mayor Francis has been asked to desist from proceeding with city projects until a further financial review of the CCC is completed. The CCC operational audit also recommends Mayor Francis adopt a more transparent policy for dealing with the awards of public contracts. The audit has urged City Hall to draft an annual budget to be submitted for approval by central government. The audit, conducted by Claudia Francis, wants Mayor Francis's expenditure capped and recommends the Board of Councillors approve any surplus spending. Another conclusion from the audit included developing clear protocols to access CCC funds.
The more things change, the more it remains the same, and that's where we are in St. Lucia. This is St. Lucia where everything goes, and it seems to me the City Council is one of the areas that it seems you want somebody to enrich themselves, you want them to do everything that is outside of being fair, transparent and accountable. You send them to the Castries Constituency Council, and I suspect that's where things will work for them.
So that's what we're seeing with the money being spent, but we also have to talk about the madness, the sound bites that this man gave. And I know for people in the media, it's almost like you went there and it'll have a note of levity, and it's almost charming to some people, charming in an asinine way, the way he speaks or whatever. So that maybe you'll have a story and he will say something mad. But once again, I'm telling you that all of that belies a darker sort of, I think, graver situation where he came across abusing his power, not caring about who he hurt clearly, and just disrespecting people, and the attacks, not just on vendors, Travis Chico, Nepot, Kenny Anthony, Nepot, Mene. That is the legacy that this man is leaving behind.
Francis, never one to shy away from the media, broke his silence regarding his absence. The rumor mill had been churning for weeks, with reports that the mayor had been stricken with COVID-19. Now, Francis, speaking to News Force, addressed the matter head on.
I had a mild attack of COVID. That's basically, that's not a problem. But again, what I'm saying, I was at Victoria. The care is extremely good. I've heard people talking about their own experience. I'm not doubting what they said. But I had excellent care up there.
Do you think it's necessary to have the powers of the city police extend across the island?
My dear, how do I put that? Do St. Lucians use only washrooms in Castries?
Matter, according to Mayor of Castries, Peterson Francis, has taken a peculiar turn.
Any update on the missing firearm?
What has happened is that the footage that we had, which was submitted to the police, it was not sufficient what they were looking at. So right now that has reverted to us, so now we are looking at administrative measures.
In what way? Can you elaborate?
Well, the footage, somebody played with the footage. So basically that's what the investigating officer. So they have revert that thing to us, where you find that we are now looking at administrative redress.
The mayor was further probed on what actions would be taken against the individual found to be implicated in the missing firearm matter.
There are many forms that it takes. He could be suspended for a certain period of time without pay or with pay, or without pay, or he could be dismissed.
Mayor of Castries, Pitons Francis, who was granted access to the site, says the completed hospital will be worth the wait.
I'm very much impressed as to what I've seen, and I could look at the thinking and the design of the building. So all what I have to tell St. Lucian that, and especially people in the southern environment, that the wait is worth it for the opening of the St. Jude. I believe they will be very satisfied with what they will get. So just a little patience, because we are looking, if we have gone about 15 years, I mean, another 6 months will not kill us. It's degrading. You know what I mean? You can't do better, yes. But it's degrading for you to live in your home, go into a facility, everybody's seeing, you have your children, you have and what time of the night you could go there. So it's a very, very, very ticklish situation. But we're not victimizing anybody. We're not trying to make anybody lose their seat. It's not we. I don't vote. It's these people.
Francis dismissed the notion of political mischief on his part, claiming, like the leader of the opposition, he too wants a functional comfort station for residents. The mayor claims the employees who manned the facility were from the community and environs.
Just days after Philip took to the streets voicing dissatisfaction with the Alan Chasney-led government, his vending spot and by extension earnings were unceremoniously stripped away. The Castries mayor, however, made no apology for his actions against the staunch SLP supporter.
The Sunday before, he was on his thing, that's not a problem. The last Sunday, he was there again. But the mere fact that you're saying, you're there and you're actually being interviewed, that Chasney must go. When Chasney goes, but it's through Chasney you have been able to vend it, because the CCC is part of the government of St. Lucia. It's an arm of the government. Not everything. You're not paying a cent a day. You're not paying for electricity. You had a tenth of hours. You had a table of hours. Your things are being stored here. You cannot have the right to be able to say what he wants on the road, being interviewed and saying what he wants. And Peterson Francis is not saying, well, is enough that you can't stay there. This is also my right. Yes, it's a right. But at the same time, so your child, you know that's your child. But as far as your child living in your house, where you're feeding him, where he's under your direction. But then he is opposing you. He's out there saying that his father must go. You say you don't like what his father, in what party his father is. And you say the father must tolerate that child in the house because it's your child. But we're doing it, you're telling you, the people that is giving you an opportunity to make a living, you're telling them that they must go. So we must give you the strength to put us out. We have a great leader. I think St. Lucian have not seen the best of the Prime Minister. I mean, he's an inspiration to me.
People believe that the solution to the problems that we have in St. Lucia only rest with the government.
I don't believe anybody believes that.
Hold on a second.
Well, you mustn't.
We going back. No. When then you have to
there
allow
are
me.
people in St. Lucia, and I must stop you.
The classic problem in St. Lucia is what I describe, and I try to get people to see it from that perspective, is this Malawi syndrome we have in St. Lucia. That everybody is so unfortunate that we have to accept the denier de guerre, the least common denominator for us to get by. Oh man, the man want to make a bread, man.
The vendor coordinator at the Castries City Council says the CCC is running out of options when it comes to getting vendors to adhere to rules and protocols in the market. He says the CCC has put its foot down and there should be absolutely no vending in trolleys on weekdays. But at the same time, he says the CCC is exasperated with the back and forth with vendors and farmers.
Market vendors, farmers, and the CCC are constantly at loggerheads when it comes to the newly placed rules for the provisions market. The The latest feud between vendors and the CCC was as a result of farmers and vendors being asked to stop vending in front of the marketing board as well as Dealey's supermarket, but rather in the spot which was previously used by provision vendors. The vendor coordinator of the CCC, Augustine Victor, says they are at wit's end as they have tried all measures possible to ensure there is some semblance of protocol adherence by vendors. However, that continues to be futile.
We are going to lay our hands down. If the people dissatisfied with a lot of vendors over there and farmers, they are the one now who have to come and start making noise to the media.
You know what happened? Things will take a turn. Trust me, it will take a turn.
That day will come when I stand and see all those wicked men in the fat. That day will come when they will try to escape and there will be nowhere to run.
The Prime Minister, I mean, is an inspiration to me and people who realize that I've run the CCC and what he believe in.
A massa mentality.
Election round the corner. I'm a diet flubbo. I will not vote for them this year. I will not do it.
To market, we have to help them. We have to. But these are people that just do not want to understand and move forward because you like to report the Mali way. They have that mentality. Oh, that's what you. But it's still MBC. The Mali way, okay? That thing about you cannot do anything. I even have a council of mine that sent me that sent a text that, you know, you'll interfere with the Mali way. I mean, I wish you all well. And that's a councillor.
So even when like I said, you know, you look at that and you're wondering maybe it shouldn't happen. When you look back on these things, from the murder of a councillor, still very mysterious things happening. A gun it's missing. There hasn't been a real sort of announcement, statement being made about that. The powers of the city police, people being trampled, their trays being taken in town, the disrespect to vendors, the sort of Maliway syndrome that he believes with the entire seems United Workers' Party executive, including the then Prime Minister, when he spoke about St. Jude's and that lack of sympathy, the lack of empathy to say, you know, what's another 6 months, another year that you cannot wait. He doesn't get it. The victimization that we have seen, we spoke about Simple, the victimization of vendors, and even I think in Castries East, when, you know, no work was being done there, the comfort station has to be looked at, and nothing was happening with that. The money being spent, the audit that had to be done, and then he insults the auditor, and all of what we're seeing there. Naman, you had to go. Utesi pose ali. Ekpa apwez up, yes, sir. Let's take the first call. Good morning. Good afternoon, sorry. Good afternoon, caller.
Tresha, how are you?
I'm all right. How are you?
Not too bad. Tresha, look, let me say this. On Peterson Francis's tenure at the CCC. Peterson Francis was one of the saddest, most disgraceful episodes in the political history of St. Lucia. Enough said. Tresha, I quite agree with Catherine Seeley when she said in her post, the SLP has a history of working hard to clean up UWP's mess when they get into office. However, they do that by keeping their heads down and working, whether it be 10, 12, 15 hours a day, to clean up the mess and not informing the general public sufficiently on what it is that they're doing. That needs to change. This SLP government, yes, work hard. We expect that you'll work hard in the interest of the people of this country, but you must keep us updated. We need to know of your findings. We need to know what you're going to do about those findings. We need to know those things so we can understand, we can appreciate, we can use that in terms of our decision making moving forward in terms of the next elections. So keep us informed, please, on a fairly regular basis. Work hard, yes, we expect that. But keep us informed, please. Now, Ignatius Jean. Tresha, I have every confidence that Mr. Jean will do an excellent job in his post as chairperson at the DC. I have every confidence. But Tresha, one of the things I expect the new DCA board under Mr. Jean will do is to keep us or give us information, all the information we need in terms of the status of all our beaches. Tresha, you and I know, as well as a number of other St. Lucians, know that our beach access, St. Lucians' access to our beaches has been eroded over the years. Slowly but surely we're losing access to all our beaches. That needs to stop. No hotel owner, no hotel developer, nobody in St. Lucia should be in a position to tell us that we can't bathe on any beach in St. Lucia. That is a crime.
Agreed.
As far as I'm concerned, that is a crime, and it needs to stop. That needs to be reversed. That needs to be revoked. Look, there is at least one beach in St. Lucia, in Soufre, Tresha, where monies are being collected, whether locals or foreigners are being asked to pay to visit a certain beach in Soufre, and that is being done by a hotel owner. Tresha, that is wrong. Look, I don't know what is going on there, and from what I have heard, that is being done to control the type of crowds that visit the beaches. But Tresha, if something like that has to happen, it has to happen under the auspices of the government. A hotel owner cannot take it up unless the government sanctioned it. I don't know, but we need to know about that as well. Why is that hotel collecting fees from locals as well as from foreigners to access the beach? That is crazy stuff, and we need to know about that too. All of those things need to be rectified, and I expect that the new DCA board will look into all of these things and report to us, the public. Thanks, Tresha.
Thank you very much, caller, as always. And you are absolutely right about these issues and access to beaches and all that. I think we have another call. Thank you for your patience, caller. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. How are you doing?
I'm all right. How are you?
I'm doing good. I couldn't listen to who spoke before, but I heard you mention it was about beach access, sort of tied to what I want to speak on. I think, I don't know where to start. Tresha, I mean, it is hopeful to see right next door, and you spoke about it yesterday, about Barbados going on this new journey and shedding the colonial oppressions and relics of our past and forging a new nation, a new ideology, a new way forward. I think we really need to start having that kind of conversation in St. Lucia, because it's disheartening when we look at the current situation of our political sort of leadership. I mean, of course, the St. Lucia Labour Party needs to do what Catherine said, which is they work hard, they clean up the mess, but their communication is not on point. How are they coming out to communicate to us what is happening? And by that I mean, we're seeing appointments, right? So the DCA appointment, and of course I have the full faith that he will do well and the board will investigate and do a good job. However, all the political individuals who've been elected, the persons who are now in ministerial positions, nobody is coming out and taking a position for the very things they've been elected for. For example, we are not here to let Cabot steal our land, beach access, which they have admitted they are going to do, in that they're going to transport us by golf carts. They have taken Crown lands because they are building into the water
sea,
as we speak.
Yes, caller.
As we wait. So I'm wondering, when is this political administration, when is this governance body that we call government, that is supposed to be the heavy hand of the people and voice, going to come out and say, look, we are looking into this and this is the direction we are going into of investigations to understand the legality or otherwise. What we have them doing is appointing individuals who are saying they're going to look into it. We have Kenson, who has said nothing in Zoom calls before and has been appointed as a parliamentary representative to say anything. We have Ernest Hilaire, who's there, and none of them or the Prime Minister has taken a position to say this is under investigation. They have the power to do that. The last 7 years I've spent in St. Lucia to see our beach access taken. I'm currently in Montreal working on projects for the last 12 months. I am more informed on individuals who've been elected to comment on Cabot. We cannot allow that to happen. And like Catherine says, and I guess your previous caller mentioned, we know they're work hard, but come out and communicate. We need to hear what is happening and what is the strategy with these individuals, because what they will keep doing, we the private citizens, concerned citizens, or little the Mali way as they put it, getting cease and desist order letters to be quiet. Meanwhile, the Cabots, the people, the millionaires and billionaires that are building on our land and stealing it, not getting cease and desist orders. They're getting businesses open as usual and need to operate. So I think we need to push back against that, and we need this administration to come out and talk. One last quick point, and I'm sure you have another caller, is that I witnessed this new mayor coming in and the promises being made and all of that. None of that's going to work unless we have constitutional change that affords and allows these constituencies, sort of mayoral offices, to have the autonomy to operate. We can't be sitting in this day and age, Trisha, that we have another appointment as a mayor. Shouldn't that person be elected, voted for? Just a thought. Thank you again, Tresha.
Thank you very much, caller. To your first point, when you speak of justice and making sure that the people who are now parliamentarians and our ministers do come out to speak, I will agree with you on that. However, from what I understand, it'll take more time to really understand, go through the paperwork so they could make an official statement. But trust me, caller, I understand completely where you are, and I think that is the very premise of making sure that we hold people in power, the government, accountable for all of the injustices that we've seen. And we've spoken about it to the new DCA chair, who again says that they'll need more time to go through it, but that is on the agenda. And you're right, time is of the essence. I understand that time will be needed to really make a statement, to see what the strategy will be, to make sure that they're on the right track. But we also know that as that time is being taken there, Cabot doesn't really care. They're working through Christmas. They don't care about no holiday, they will continue to take and take and take. And you are absolutely correct. I agree with you on that one. But there are two different issues there, two different things that we need to be cognizant of. Let's take the other call. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Tresha.
Hi.
I understand the concern of your last caller, and indeed these are supposed to be concerns of St. Lucia in general. However, one of the biggest sins that we may commit against our own selves is the sin of impatience. We have to understand that there are legal implications in a lot of what has been done in Cabot and the Pitons management area, etc., etc. So to expect people, or chairmen of boards or representatives to just come out and shoot out their mouths about we're going to do this and we're going to do that and we're going to do the other, I think is a bit puerile and childish. I think what we need to do is that we, of course, need to hold the feet of our representatives to the fire. We have heard what they have said before on the campaign trail. We have seen what is in their manifesto. I think we have seen a welcome departure in the people that they are appointing to the various boards, especially the chairman and so. I think we can expect, and we should expect, that within a reasonable period of time, they should come out clearly and map something out and show where we are going, which reflects what we are concerned with. But clearly, I think it is very puerile, very childish to just feel that people should now come out and just make statements here, there, and everywhere about what they're going to do here and what they're going to do there. No. This kind of impatience can land us in a lot of trouble. Having said that, I want to say that I agree completely with Ms. Catherine Seeley's. Cleaning up the mess is important, and the list is exhaustive, both what she has put down and what she has not put down. And it is going to be important for continued engagement with the public, not only with our various bodies, but with the public in general on what is going on. Because we must know what is going on. That is important, because the only way that disinformation can thrive, and they have already started, and note I say disinformation, not misinformation, because people might be misinformed genuinely, but when you go out and you know that something is wrong, but you're deliberately spreading it, that is disinformation. So we will be allowing the space for disinformation to thrive if we do not come out and hold the people in confidence. The Labour Party or the government, our present government, at every turn should hold us in confidence through their information, through engaging us, so that the disinformation of those sans-hots who are still there and who do not seem to have accepted that they have committed the most egregious sins against our people, and they are only looking for the opportunity to reimpose themselves on the people. So please, the present government, don't only put your heads down and do the work. Engage us always. The idea of continued town hall Tuesdays or any other similar format is important. We must have that ongoing commitment and connection with the people. And I want to say congrats to Mr. Ignatius Jean. We have seen him in office before. I believe Mr. Jean will do a good job, and I believe we should give people the space to do that good job. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your contribution, caller. I must say, though, that I don't, and I wouldn't put it down as puerile. I wouldn't say that it's childish at all. When there were people going out on cabot and protesting, doing what they had to, there are different groups that have come together on that same issue, the people who feel very strongly about the Pitons and all of that. I don't think it's fair now to ask them to sit and wait and trust that, you know, something will come out and somebody will say something. I believe it is the duty of everyone, it is the right of every citizen to call out and say that they need to hear something, at least say, you know, what is being done, whether it's being spoken about. And he's particularly said about Kenson not coming out. So there are people have their right to demand questions, to demand exactly where are we with the cabot situation. And he's completely right that it is a time-sensitive issue, because as we speak, like he said, there's things being built into the sea which was not given leeway, which was not there was no permission for. So with all of that being done, it is a time-sensitive issue, and I think both sides can be true at the same time. Let's take the call. Good afternoon.
Hi, Trisha. Good afternoon.
Hi, good afternoon. Thank you so much for holding on and waiting.
Not a problem.
Yeah.
Trisha, I was listening earlier to Mr. Frederick's presentation, and he made mention on his desire to support the workers, and he also extended by saying that he wants persons to come to him in the aid of, I'm not sure, I can't repeat it verbatim, but it was to the extent of he wants to be the assistant if someone is going to commit suicide. Like, he doesn't want to be the cause, or, you know, I think it was in that context. I wasn't really, I cannot recite it verbatim. So my point is, I like to bring awareness to September being the month of suicide prevention awareness, and also that the day for suicide prevention awareness is the 10th of September. With that said, I would like to see a little more being done for mental health, especially. By the looks of it, I don't think we have any mental health laws I think there's a draft from 2008, and I don't think that has been revisited. I would like to see some more investment being made for mental health, especially now with the wellness center and the transition between wellness center and whatever that went on with the other administration. What is going to happen to the wellness center? Are the patients still going to be at the wellness center? Are the outpatients now going to have to pay for their medication? What exactly is going on with the wellness center in terms of forensic mental health? So mental health for persons who are at Borderley, what is happening? Are they getting their medication? I know there's nothing much happening on mental health, and now with COVID, it's even worse. So these are the things that I would like to hear from the government when they are doing their budgeting. What is going to happen? What is the focus on mental health? And that is my contribution for today.
Thank you very much, caller. I think you've made an excellent point. I don't think, and I have to admit it too, that that wasn't even on my radar, to be quite honest. So thank you for that. I'm hoping too that the people will hear you, and it is an issue that we have to look into. I know culturally people, don't place much importance on mental health, but I'm telling you now more than ever with COVID, and I don't say this in jest, I do believe that after the election there are people still reeling from what has happened. Their party has lost. I heard people like Al Prince talking about suicide, and it's not to some just something to laugh at. This is serious for many, many reasons, and for that reason I want to thank you, caller, for bringing it up. And I too, now that you say it, I'm looking forward to see what's going to happen in the weeks ahead. Do we have another call? Okay, so I think we'll try to squeeze one more call. I know we're overdue, but hey, Christopher's not here. And I think Miss Evelyn from Soufriere, who wanted to have more times because she doesn't get through, we need to have these discussions. And with all of that being said, I understand all of it. These are serious issues. People want to see what's happening. People came together clamoring for a difference, and people want to see a change. So if they are seeing that they put certain people in and they want to see a difference, they have their right to ask certain questions, and that's, I think, they have every right to do so. Let's take the other call. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, my friend.
Hi, how are you?
I am fine. How about yourself?
I'm good, thank you.
Wonderful.
All right.
I like the hairstyle.
Oh, thanks.
Just to clarify with the last caller, Mr. Frederick did say that he doesn't want to hear that one of the staff members at City Council committed suicide, where he could have prevented that by just making a call. He was giving them the assurance that they could count on him wherever they see him, and they want a listening ear. He will give them the listening ear. He will not ignore them. So anything that they're going through whatsoever, and they would like to speak to him whenever they see him or they have to call him, do so, and then he will give them a listening ear. That's exactly what he was trying to express. But just to clarify that for the last caller.
Okay. I think
yeah, I was just saying I'm so proud of the last administration. They did so much good for the country, and now that they're in opposition, they are nowhere to be seen or heard, because they did so much good. If you did good and you were fighting for your rights and doing good, like Norbert was fighting for the rights, and Champagne and all the rest of them fighting for the rights, saying that the administration is doing so well, so good, so well, and now nobody is saying anything. I'm so proud of them. I'm very proud, because they did so good. They just leave it there to continue.
Hey, how is me?
They did good.
Caller, I think you're mistaken on that. I think they're in their feelings on the other side on Sky FM. Champagne every day doing what he's doing, and some other people that I've heard, and now they're saying that, you know, this wasn't won in a free and fair way. That's what Champagne is saying, and I wonder too, if that were the case, why not contest? Why not, you know, bring it and, you know, have people investigate it? I think they're afraid because Yoki Sav Sayote Fair, Sayote Vole election, so they don't want to do it. So you cannot say it's not free and fair. Poor job. I'm telling y'all, as we're speaking about all that mental health, check on Champagne. I'm serious about that.
Tresha,
what are you saying?
Let me tell you something. Honestly speaking, no member of the United Workers' Party wanted to win the seat. Bradley now is kaka half-mast because he's afraid. Okay, he win. They never expected to win because of all that cover-up. Remember, there was a period of time, 2 weeks, the Prime Minister's office was closed.
They never expected to win. The people put everything in place so that they could win. Sam Muntage, when the wife of the person in Treasury, Accountant General, you know, people can transport. Can you imagine a private company just transporting ballot boxes?
So they know they would not win. So they were trying to siphon all what they could have siphoned at the last end of days. You know, they know they would not win. You know? So at the
that was just in case.
What's the guy in Babylon name again? The guy that looked like the pit bull.
Ezekiel?
What's his name? Ezekiel. Ezekiel. It was slated that because of the margin that the lady won, it is slated that you have a recount. The man said, "Me, no, I don't know. I'm okay. She win. Yes. He considered, all of them just considered, that's it.
Maybe they had enough, maybe they took enough, I don't know.
Exactly.
I don't know.
But the Lucians, open your eyes, man, and I'm pleading to everybody that, you know, let's take this COVID thing serious. I am not saying don't take the vaccine. If you choose to take the vaccine, it's your democratic right, go get the vaccine. Okay? But let's take this thing serious. People stay at your homes. Avoid them crowds. Give the administration that's dead now chance to do something good. Or, well, something better, because the other side did something good. So let's do something better. You know, avoid all them crowd thing and them gatherings. We could do without that for a little while. Because this thing is, we are almost 1,005 or 1,006 now, you know.
I know.
You see how Guadeloupe is?
Yeah, I do. I've seen it.
Take that thing serious. Anyway, Trisha, good job. Everybody take care of them. Be safe.
Thank you very much, caller. Thanks.
No problem.
And I want to go back to you know, suicide and it being the month of it in September. Just again to thank that caller for letting us know about that. And also, you know, if we're going to talk about COVID and the different issues that people are dealing with, I think that too is very, very important. And also for us not to politicize even that we saw politicized during the last administration. I remember Saknoyoko Spider was saying, oh, there are more suicides under the SLP. You know, how can you say things like that? I do not want to ever hear anything like that uttered again. In fact, like I said, we need to have more empathy. We need to have more thought to people's feelings and that sort of thing. And I do hope that even with that, there comes a change with the new administration, and people will come out and make it an atmosphere where people feel okay in letting people know how they're feeling, and you won't feel like, you know, there's a Malawi syndrome or you're mendicants and, you know, all of the things that we've heard, the insults and everything else. These things have no place for us in the future. We're talking about Castries Central. I still want it to be said. Let's just take one more clip, because Mokwe Francis Peterson te hot. Everybody have sapudi. So he knows, he said, the Lord giveth and the Lord taketh. So avant d'ouvrir poe imem poe d'ouvrir. So listen to what he had to say during the press conference yesterday.
Well, there's a time to come in and a time to go out. There's a time to receive and there's a time to give. And as I've said, and I'm very happy that right now people are understanding, there are some passages in the Bible. They go to funeral, the priest mentioned it, but they never took cognizance of it, but the Lord giveth and the Lord take it.
The people, you know, they laugh. My media colleagues laugh, but you know, because you said that to somebody, you said that to a vendor, and people, despite what I saw anyway, you know, even the hacks could not really defend that. People who were United Workers Party supporters could not defend that. There is no place for that kind of doctrine right now, and you know, if the Lord giveth and the Lord taketh, we've come to the end of the show. I want to thank all of you for joining us. It has always been a pleasure for us to have these conversations in the most honest way possible. I think people, like I said before, have a right to ask questions of past administrations and the current one, and we need, above all, you know, seeing progress and different appointments being made. There is hope, and I think that is important with the things that are being said. When you talk to CCC people who haven't been paid on time in so long, like Yokata and Yosayana raise, they will be paid on time. These are things which give people hope and an incentive to work even harder and know that, you know, it's not about who know who or anything like that. It's about, you know, if you work hard, you will get rewarded for your work, and that must matter again. And even as we're talking about that, I'll end with a clip that I found so funny, because it involves one of my favorite movies and one of my least favorite politicians. But it's so well done, so well done. Okay, so I hope to see you guys tomorrow at 11 Zibodevle. We'll continue to have these conversations, but until then, Poikako, do not go against any of the protocols. Stay under the curfew, you may say. Let's try to deal with that in the best way that we can, and hopefully I'll see you tomorrow at 11. Peace.
Come Debo. Who? Debo.
You just took mine, yeah.